what about boxing? You see this stuff, like, do you start to think as you get further in your career that there's a lot of people fighting, going to boxing? Tyson Pedro just went to boxing.
Did he?
Yep.
Wow.
He just started, there's guys who go like, that'll fight like in the Jake Paul, you know, in that world.
Right.
Do you see yourself ever doing something like that? Would you ever count something like that out, or?
I'm 35 and I have, you know, I think 6 fights left on my current contract with UFC. I don't know if I'm ever going to fight that out. You know, am I going to fight 6 more times and become a free agent? I don't know, but I would love to box. Yeah.
So even if you were to go to boxing, does that UFC have to have a part in that fight?
If you're still under contract, if I fight whatever's left on my contract, then I'm free agent. I can do whatever I want.
Right.
Yeah.
But if not, and there's not like an equal parting, then even if you were to go do boxing, like Tyron Woodley went and boxed.
He was out of his contract.
Oh, he was out of his contract.
Yeah. I think the only person who's ever done that is Conor, where UFC was co-promoted it and got a cut of it. But against Mayweather. But it was such a big fight. Everybody won. You know, that makes sense. Other than that, I don't think the UFC would like let anybody do that.
Yeah, because it would open up a can of worms. I think it would just open up a crazy can of worms where now Dana, he doesn't want to, it doesn't seem like help promote a lot of that.
Yeah. And he's built the UFC, the brands is so strong now. I don't know if they want to give any other brands the rub by co-promoting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we fight mixed martial arts. You know, boxing is a part of mixed martial arts, but it's a whole different thing, man.
Do you think it would be something like, when you think about that, is it something that's kind of interests you, or do you feel like, I just like mixed martial arts? Because you're great on your, you know, one of your, like even with BSD or BDS, I can't remember, but BSD, it felt like they didn't want to have you on the feet that much, you know?
Yeah.
It felt like it wasn't a preference of his. Right. Just watching.
And every time we went to the ground, I took myself down. I never got taken down once by him. I was jumping guillotines, you know, ending up on my back. Yeah. I never got taken down, but we worked wrestling really hard at camp. We thought he was going to be diving for my legs, you know? He just seemed a little bit slow on the feet. And, you know, if you stand in front of me, he didn't have great head movement in his fights, the videos we watched. If you stand in front of me, like, I'm going to get you. You know, something's going to land that's going to hurt you, especially over 5 rounds. That's why I asked the UFC for it to be 25-minute fight. I didn't want to do 3 rounds because if this guy pushes me against the fence and I lose 1 round, right? You know, like, I think the better fighter wins over the long run. So I asked them for 5 rounds and they gave it to us.
Yeah. What is that? What are those moments like when you're just up against the fence and it just feels like, 2 neighbors kind of just like are like having an issue about something?
Bro, fighting is like when you're not touching each other, like when you're squared off, like feinting and throwing punches, that's just like, it's chaotic. But when you get to the fence or you get on the ground and you're kind of, you know, pummeling and stuff like that, that's when like reality sets in, where you get like a moment of clarity, like, oh shit, this is happening. Oh damn, I'm against the fence, he's kneeing me. But like, you don't have time to think when you're fighting. Like if you're scrambling on the ground or throwing combinations and blocking kicks and firing punches back, it's kind of chaotic. You're not thinking, you're just reacting. But whenever you get to the fence and a guy's clinching you and you have time to think, you're like, oh shit, that's when it sets in. This is happening.
Wow. Yeah, because you almost have moments, there's times where you see the fighters kind of look around, or they'll just be locked in a moment and they'll just kind of engage with somebody almost, or
yeah, it's surreal. Like when that moment of clarity sets in, when the fight slows down a little bit, it's pretty crazy, man. Because then you can hear the crowd, and it's sometimes I can hear the commentators. Like I'll hear Joe Rogan through the fence talking. It's crazy.
If boxing, yeah. So who would you fight if you had to do a celebrity boxing match? Do you have any thoughts on it ever? Biden, maybe.
Oh, dude. Yeah, he already lost that one.
That's true.
The bell might wobble him when it starts. You ready? Fight. Ding. He's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I think even if they let him use like 12-year-old kids as smelling salts, though, I think he might bounce back, you know? Or fight Hunter Biden.
Oh, that would be a good one. Coked up?
Sure.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
I'd hate to fight all coked up.
Yeah.